Dude, Stranger Things keeps getting stranger and better. Like our reviews too, if I do say so myself. What's up? It's Tech and this is GVNNaija. Roll the thing. Yo, what's up? Welcome to the channel. This is GVNNaija, where we review movies, series, comics, animations, and video games. And this time it's a series, Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1. First and foremost, I would love us to give a moment of silence for those that we've lost so far on the journey to Season 4, Volume 2. And I will always love you. Though we missed. Along with the other extras, many countless unnamed extras. Now we've got dope 80s music, dope fashion, and of course dope upside down effect shots that did not feel overused at any point. I think if I was going to be born in the 70s, it would have been to enjoy those dope 80s music and fashion because I really liked it. You know, that's something that has been a theme since the kids have started growing older, and them being older, them being younger to older teenagers because now they're in high school. I think it's something that was a major selling point for this season 4 part 1, and the writers, Duffer Brothers, they really did capitalize on that because it did not make it look like they were the sitting kind of older teenager levels. No, it was very relatable. You know, now all the different guys are in different stages of their lives, and Elle also, she's in the new school with Will and she's getting bullied. And you know, it's funny, speaking about being bullied, that was one thing that was an overarching part of Elle's story in this season 4 part 1. And I was just so pissed off. Like, I was really pissed off. I wanted to push some people into the upside down. I just pushed them and they're like, where am I now? Because, oh God, Elle was being bullied over and over in school. I know it felt like a little bit of deja vu for her as we proceeded in the series, because the same question that Mike asked her is the same question, or similar to the same question that Dr. Martin asked her. What did you do when she attacked the girl who had been bullying her the entire time? And you know, it's crazy because this thing was publicized. Yes, it's not the age of social media, this is the 80s, but they recorded their act of bullying this girl. Everybody participated in it, even the DJ. She was called a snitch. The understanding of being called a snitch is someone who sells out their own people. You were never her people. And she even made it clear when the teacher asked that, did she do this to you? She was like, no, she tripped. But of course, the teacher is no idiot. The teacher is an adult and she knows that this girl is a mean girl. And then you called her a snitch. You guys bullied her at the skating rink. And then she reacts because there's only so much a person can take. I mean, remember the scene where Elle went all, ah! And then she realized like she did not have her powers. But she got to that point because she had been pushed against the wall. It was bullying, a class act bullying case. And then the same thing happened with being in the institute with Dr. Martin. You know, when we saw it initially when the series started, he asked her, what have you done? And you know, speaking of Dr. Martin, how is that man still alive? Is he like a clone? Or when he was testing all those kids, he found a way to give himself some sort of immortality. Yes, he did have a sort of scar, but then if a Demogorgon bites your head off, you don't just live with a scar, you die. You know, you die in a very bad way because there were people that remember Bob in season 2 that sacrificed himself. Like, Bob will always be in our hearts. He sacrificed himself. Is someone who died to a Demogorgon and there are countless other people that have died to Demogorgon. So how is Dr. Martin alive? I think that's one question that I would love answered in this volume 2 of season 4. Also, anyone else remembers Chrissy, the first character to die in season 4? It's funny because if you are a Nigerian or you know anything about Nollywood, I don't know about Bollywood or any other wood, but Nollywood, if you want to know the girl is pregnant, she throws up. And you know, that's something that hasn't been addressed yet. But then it almost felt like she was pregnant because the moment I just saw Chrissy, when Max was in the restroom and Chrissy was there and she was throwing up and she was crying, the first thing that came to my mind was, Chrissy, it's you, she don't get belay, because that was what it felt like. And of course, that was where she had her major first encounter with Vecna. And then there's also the 11-year-old force of nature called Erica Sinclair, aka Lady Applejack with her bad mouth. She did not disappoint in any way. I remember her very well from the previous season, but then the part that I remember the most was, I don't know if you guys remember that episode, the final episode of season 3, where Justin and his long distance girlfriend, when they were singing that song, Never Ending Story, and then they ended and they're like, I love you too, and they're like, no, I love you too, and she was like, all right, enough. And then that attitude transferred perfectly into the 4th season. And see, one thing I think now ties a lot well with reality is Stranger Things is no joke. It's brilliant on the part of the creators that they've found a way to tell such a very brilliant story that even though it has elements of adults in it, like Hopper and all the other adults, the kids play a major role in solving all the problems. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, yes, there's Elle with her superpowers, but even outside of that, there are things some of these kids did that I'm like, it's as if this one wants to die. Which leads me to the next point. Speaking of death, the fact that none of the major characters, the kids, have died up until this point is nothing short of a miracle. I like the fact that it wasn't a cop-out, because when the first character died, Chrissy, and then Ben died, when Max was just acting so irritating, in my head I was like, Max, just die. Please just die already. But then, I like the fact that it was brilliantly done. It wasn't like a cop-out when they found the solution to Max being freed from Vecna's effect, that it's music, because it's all tied together. When Nancy and Robin went to the psychiatric institute after they cajoled the man and they made his head swell, they were talking plenty, and I was like, I'm feeling rebellious myself. So after I did all that, they made it clear that they paid attention, and of course I also paid attention, but it made so much sense when they figured it out that music as a sort of effect to calm these guys with the mental issues, and then the same thing also applied. And it's brilliant because once we've watched something, and that was a very clever move on the part of the creators. Once we've watched something and it's been explained to us, the audience, that point A will get to point B in order to get to result C, that has been explained, right? The same thing applies on screen. So if you remember, continuing with that initial example where they found that music is a probable solution, right? And then they were freaking out, and then it looked like Max was about to die, Vecna was about to kill her, and Justin was able to reach out to them and said, please tell me you found the solution. And that was it, because the next scene was him packing all the cassettes and then a cassette player and running to her. They did not need to explain it again. And if you notice, a lot of that happened throughout the series. I just think that was brilliant on their part. It was smart, it was beautiful, it was straight to the point. It did not feel slow in any way. Although I would say one part that did feel kind of slow was episode 5. Episode 5 was kind of slow, but I could understand there was a reason behind it. Elle trying to get her powers back, replaying her memories and all that. Yes, it felt kind of slow compared to the entire pace of this 4th season, but it made sense. And that was one thing I did appreciate. And speaking of another thing I appreciated, Hopper, Joyce, and Maury's Russia escapade, it was really nice. It was great that they were able to establish a story. I mean, yeah, they've been doing that from season 1, 2, 3, and 4, but then it got a lot more cemented in season 4, where they were able to establish a story for the parents outside of what the kids were facing. Because this was Elle and Will and all the others that were facing one issue with Elle and the police and being interrogated and about to be thrown into jail. And this was the case of Joyce and Hopper and Maury trying to break Hopper out of jail in Russia. It was just so crazy and brilliantly done. I like the fact that we are getting a better understanding of the entire story in this season. It's making so much sense. And I don't know whether it's just me, but does anyone really like it when you've invested time into a story and then you see everything coming around full circle? So it's like we are back where we started, but with so much more understanding. So you have all the it felt really, really, really satisfying to watch. Yes, it was just 7 episodes, but then there were some episodes like the finale that was about 1 hour 30 something minutes, so they felt like feature films. But then they did not feel like a waste of time. I liked all the exposition, all the dialogues. I mean, there were times that they would do some things, and I'm like, yeah, this, if I was the one in this thing, we will not proceed beyond this point, because you see that there is a light, or see that time when they were going into the water. I'm like, this is the water. What are you doing there? You've seen the red thing. Please go back upstairs. Go back out of the water. But then they go in, they explore, they get to see the upside down. We get the understanding that the upside down stopped tracking the day Will was taken. All of this exposition, because that was when Nance tried to get her guns in her shoebox, and then she found that it wasn't her guns that were there, but it was her shoes. And then upon realizing in the diary, then she realized that, oh wow, this is the last entry, and this is the day that Will went missing. It was just so mind-blowing and so nice. And speaking of another mind-blowing and nice stuff, Henry Creel, aka number one, aka Vecna, being who he was, that's reveal, and making us understand that it was the battle between him and El that opened the portal to the upside down, opened the doorway to the upside down. And it poses another question in my head. I'm like, yes, we've seen the Mind Flayer and the Demogorgons and all of that. So we've seen them, we know that they are all from the upside down. So now, is it that there's some sort of partnership between Vecna and the Mind Flayer? Because it's a force of nature. And then another question is, why did it wait so long? I mean, there's the whole plot convenience thing, so that might be a thing. But I choose to believe that there is a much better reason that the writers will be able to give us. Because so far they've not been half-assing anything. They've been giving us proper reasons for why things happen the way they did. So I would love to believe that there is a reason why Vecna is just showing up and why he's just active again. Because he should have been active in, I don't know, maybe season 2 or season 3. So did they wait for El to leave Hawkins in order for them to act, in order for Vecna himself to show up? And here's another thing about Vecna's powers. So Vecna is 01. It's from him, all the others got their powers, including Jane, including El. It was from him they all got their powers. So what makes her so special that she was now the student that overcame the master? Well, I understand that his own powers, and he mentioned that it comes from a place of hate, from a memory that she feels so much pain, and when she tried to fight him using that memory, she was losing. But then when she remembered her very first memory of her birth and her mother naming her Jane, she actually had the power to overcome it. So is it that this power, yes, it has a lot to do with your emotions, but not the bad emotions, the good emotions. So she just sort of found a way to use his powers better than him. Is that it? Are they related in some way? What's the story behind it? I'd really love that answer in this volume 2 of season 4. Another thing that I'd love answered, I mean, while it's a lot of ignorance on their part, I mean, they are the teenagers that are trying to actually fix the problem and understand that the upside down is a real threat to the whole of humanity. And then there are the jocks, the Hellfire Club, and their hunt for Eddie Munson. That's another question that I know they will answer, because these guys have now turned it to a sort of vigilante thing with the entire community. And it's crazy because now the police is looking impotent, they're looking powerless, and if they catch this guy before the police, they are going to inflict some serious harm. They might probably even kill him. So I'd like to see how that goes. And speaking of killing, this is season 4 part 2. I'd love to think that some of the kids or adults, but some of the main characters will die, because the question is, will Hopper and Joyce and Murray escape Russia? Will they even want to escape Russia? Because they know that the Russians are doing something that involves the upside down, and we've seen clips in the trailer for volume 2 of season 4 that they see some more weird stuff happening in Russia. And speaking of volume 2 season 4 trailer, Nancy, I think that question is out of the way. She's not going to die. We've seen her behind Steve in the trailer, so the thing is, she's going to be released in one way or the other. But then Robbie mentioned in the trailer for volume 2 of season 4 that she thinks things will not go their way this time, and I tell you, I'm inclined to agree with her, because 1, this is the finale. 2, one reason why Endgame was so great was because it was a super villain story. A super villain story that is told well is dope. And Vecna just seems like such a great force of nature that you guys will not defeat this guy going unscathed, because now they have to find a permanent full stop for the Upside Down. Unless the creators try to be greedy and they try to do a sort of spin-off thing, there has to be a full stop. So the next couple of days, so tomorrow precisely, or today, depending on what time you're watching this, maybe it's even sometime in the future, we will get answers. And these are plenty answers that we need because a lot of questions have been raised. Speaking of another question that needs to be answered, Miss Kelly, the guidance counselor woman, is she related to Vecna in any way? Is she working for him? What is the deal? Because there are connections between her victims and Vecna's killings. We're talking about Chrissy, we're talking about Fred, and then Max almost beat the dust too. So, is there a connection? If yes, I'd love to see it because she was also being a little bit cagey while I understand that there is the patient-doctor confidentiality, and of course the same thing applies to counselors. You don't want your counselor tattling about your personal secret details to other people. I understand that. But then, I don't know, it just feels like too much of a coincidence. And if there's something we know so far about Stranger Things, nothing is a coincidence. It is all planned. If they shot it, if they mentioned it, there is a reason. So that's something that I am also looking forward to see in Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 2. Overall, I really, really did enjoy it. It's gotten stranger and it's gotten better. One moment we are here, and with the way Vecna's powers work, one moment I am here reviewing, and the next moment, boom, everything changes, and then I'm in the Upside Down. But I really did enjoy everything about this. I remember giving Coda a 10 over 10 with 5 stars. So far, Season 4, Volume 1 is also another 10 over 10. So that's my second 10 over 10 rating this year. I really enjoyed it. I really do not see any downsides or any negatives because there has been a reason for everything so far. And I sincerely hope that they're able to just blow it out of the park in this second part of Season 4. And that's it for the review. If you enjoyed it, if you liked this, feel free to share, subscribe, like. It truly, truly does help the channel. Feel free to check out this video or this video next to see some of our other dope reviews on the channel. We also are uploading a lot of gaming content. It's also on GVNN Gaming because we are GVNNaija and it's been tech. Live long and prosper.